On July 12, 100 BC, ancient Roman general, statesman, and high priest Julius Caesar is born in the Subura, Rome's poorest neighborhood. But why did a nobleman like Julius Caesar live in a working-class neighborhood? And how did he rise to become such a famous and important historical figure? Also, was Julius really his first name? And what does the name Caesar mean? Julius Caesar was from one of ancient Rome's oldest and most prestigious patrician families. Contrary to popular belief, however, Julius was not his first name, but his family name. Some Romans had one or more surnames that came after their family name. These might reference a distinctive physical feature or an accomplishment of the person. Sometimes, but not always, these surnames were passed down from one generation to the next, like in the case of the surname Caesar, which originated at least 100 years before Julius Caesar's birth, and specified that he was from the Caesar branch of the Julius family. The meaning of the surname Caesar is unclear, but some suggest it may have come from the Latin word caesarius, which means a full head of hair, which would be ironic since Julius Caesar was going bald by his 30s. Some other possible origins are the word caesius, which means brilliant gray-blue eyes, or the word caesus, which means to cut, and is the root of the term cesarean section. Julius Caesar himself claimed that Caesar came from caesai, a North African word for elephant, and suggested that one of his ancestors earned it by killing a war elephant during the Punic Wars against Carthage. Julius Caesar's first name was, in fact, Gaius. So his name was actually Gaius Julius Caesar, a name he shared with his father, grandfather, and others in his family line. His daughter, his sisters, and his paternal aunts also shared a name, Julia. In fact, because of Roman naming conventions, all women born to any branch of the Julius family were named Julia, the feminine form of Julius. Due to this same tradition, Julius Caesar's mother was named Aurelia, since she was from the Aurelius family. Although they were aristocrats, Caesar's parents lived in the heart of the densely populated Subura, where they owned an insula, or apartment building, and lived in a spacious unit that took up much of the ground floor. That living arrangement proved useful for Julius Caesar's rise to political power. Having grown up in the Subura, Rome's poor saw him as one of their own. At the same time, as the Julius family was one of the oldest and most prestigious in Rome's history, his name enabled him to comfortably make inroads with Rome's elite. Caesar effectively worked his way through Rome's military and political system. He made a name for himself and acquired great wealth during his time as governor of Gaul, which was more or less modern-day France. After defeating his rival Pompey the Great in a bloody civil war, Caesar became Rome's dictator for life, but was assassinated at age 55 by rival senators. July, the month of his birth, gets its name from Julius Caesar. Here are other events that happened today in history. In 1191, during the Third Crusade, Saladin's forces surrendered to the English and French at Acre. In 1543, England's King Henry VIII marries his sixth wife, Catherine Parr, at Hampton Court Palace. In 1562, Spanish friar Diego de Landa burns numerous books and cult images of the Maya in Mexico. In 1862, Lincoln signs a measure creating the Medal of Honor, the highest U.S. military decoration. In 1979, the White Sox staged the infamous Disco Demolition Night, blowing up disco records on the field. In 1984, Walter Mondale chooses Geraldine Ferraro as the first female major party U.S. VP candidate. In 2001, New Orleans renames its international airport after jazz legend and city native Louis Armstrong. And now it's time for our Today in History quiz. 4 days of draft riots broke out in which U.S. city just 10 days after the Union victory at Gettysburg during the American Civil War? Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore, or New York City? Liked learning about the birth of Julius Caesar? Then you'll love this one about when he famously crossed the Rubicon River and started a civil war. Tap the screen to keep the story going on Today in History.